Okay, we'll call this May 1st Jackson County Commission Work Session to order. Have a roll call.
District 1, Mr. Guppy.
Present.
District 2, Mr. Trimble. Present. District 3, Ms. Gilbert.
Present.
District 4, Mr. Sis.
Present.
Chairman also present.
And we have a quorum present. Have our invocation by Mr. Porter and our pledge by Ms. Gilbert.
God, our Father in heaven, we're blessed to be here. We're so thankful for this weather that we have. We're also thankful that we didn't have any severe weather over the weekend. We pray that you'll continue to watch over us and guide us. And God, especially at this time, the world is in trouble. There are hot spots all over the world. God, we pray for peace. We pray for calmness, but we also pray for discernment on behalf of our leaders, our national leaders, local leaders, and our state leaders. So God, we pray for all of those that are in public service. Watch over them and guide them. Be with our men and women in the armed services. And God, we pray for their safety. We pray for their families. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First item is approval of the agenda. We have 5 items for discussion. Are there any changes before we proceed? Have a motion to approve the agenda presented. Motion. Motion, have a second.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Those opposed say no. No one signed up to speak this evening. We'll move on to the first discussion item. The first one is a Red Cross agreement and lease. This was something that was approved last year for the remainder of the year. And it's coming again for renewal. It does have, there's been discussions regarding the buildings and what is to be done with the building that they utilize. There is a termination clause in there that we can give them 60 days notice to vacate the premises if we do decide to do something with that building different than what we have now. So this is something that they've asked for, they put together. Again, it was approved previously, and it's just time to reapprove if we want to continue this at this point. So questions or comments on this?
How many people do they have in Red Cross?
They have one volunteer, and I don't think it's staffed full-time at all. Minimal time, as I understand it.
Is there any other building that we might look at to put them together?
I don't think we have, I don't know that we would have space to move them if we were to vacate that and move some of our other offices. I don't know of any place that we could locate them as far as a county building.
Do they use it for storage, like for?
All that, when I've been in there, they have a desk and a computer, and it's there for, again, for someone to man it. You know, when we had the tornadoes in Rosalie, I believe that they had some staff in there from time to time to, you know, make calls and things like that.
Well, I'm for having up the Red Cross, but I mean, you know, conditions are, we're gonna have to look and see what's gonna be best for county obligations also.
We have the Red Cross and Senior RX in that end of that building. It's on a separate HVAC unit and everything, isn't it?
It's very oddly designed. I'm not sure how it's separated, but there's a unit that covers both the extension, and then there's one that covers extension and the other side there. The things that we operate in that building would be Senior RX. Additionally, we've got the Red Cross, the state. What's the state's
Yeah,
office?
county,
You got the
Wildlife.
game wardens, got some storage stuff in there.
And then community action.
Community action, yeah. And just to make a note too, for some reason, instead of 1 year this time, they've got 2 years in here.
Okay.
So just as a matter of note.
So soil conservation in this same building? It's
Not
not
sure.
sure,
I
right?
think it's just a wildlife.
I think it's wild.
Soul's on Broad, isn't it?
That's what I-
Game warden, I think.
the extension office.
Extension officer.
The extension office.
Yeah, county extension.
That's what I meant, state extension office. So, well, they're supposed to be funded by the government, but not right.
They're funded by the combination through the Auburn and A&M, you know, process. But in most all counties, if not all counties, the county supports them by providing a space for them to operate out of. things like that, I think, we're, in our budget meetings, we're gonna have to have some real discussions about the building and what our future holds for it. The benefit of this, of course, this agreement, it does have that 60-day clause, so that if once a decision is made, or if a decision's made to change anything, we can give them notice and cancel this. Any other questions or comments? And as Mr. Manning stated, this is a 2-year, so if we do move forward with this for the time being, we need to determine whether we want to do it for 1 year or 2 year. And of course, 60 days, if we don't feel that's adequate, or if we feel that's too long, we can propose an amendment there.
I'll just add, if I could, that this is a nonprofit entity, so, and I see that there's no rent to be charged. So if the commission determines that it would serve a public purpose to allow the Red Cross to operate in a building without paying rent, then that would need to be included in the motion next week, or whatever you consider it. Since they're not providing compensation to the county for the county's property.
Any other questions or comments? Do we want to propose some way to move forward with this next week?
I'd say just go ahead and sign until the budget year.
For a lease until that time, or we could
Yeah,
do
I
December
just do,
31st in that case, or something like that?
When is that? Until how long?
Till May 31st.
December 31st.
Oh, just like going through.
Right, because our budget, we'll just start discussing our budget in July. By the time you give them a 60-day in October, that'll be October, November, so.
And see, their start date is 9/1, it doesn't start on our physical.
Okay, it doesn't start.
See, it starts 9/1 of 17 for some reason.
You know what the last contract went to?
It went from 9/1 of 16 through
Okay.
8/31 of 17.
Well, in that case, we can
So,
wait and discuss this further.
yeah, I mean, we still got a little time on it, I mean, but,
If we could then make a note, we'll bring this back on the agenda. We'll begin our budget hearings in July. So let's put this on the agenda for the first work session in July. Is that appropriate for everybody? Okay. Any other questions or comments? Okay. Next item is regarding the sales tax holiday resolution. I think there was an amendment that needed to be made this year due to some changes. Is that correct? Mr. Manning, did you want to?
yes, they changed the holiday weekend, and all this does is correct the previous resolution that was out there, and dates it to the proper time when it is now.
And this is to change according to whatever the state says, or?
Well, the way I read this is they're asking that it be changed to be the last full weekend in July.
Right.
And I think, I'll double check this, but I think you could just do it generically to say that you're gonna follow, and I thought we had done that before, but maybe not.
Well, we did it where you don't have to renew it each
Right,
year.
okay. But
So
it's still on that.
it's ongoing every year, but the first resolution stated that specific weekend, and they've moved that weekend.
But we could redo the resolution that coincided with
Just to
the
say,
state's tax.
Right,
holiday.
right.
That way we wouldn't have to change
Right.
it.
Or you could amend the one we currently have and just simply change the dates in it, and amend it to do that, whichever would be.
Could you review that, Mr. Porter,
I
and
will.
either amend or share with us the proper way to handle it? Are there any questions or comments on that?
And they do need that by, I think, June 21 is the deadline, so we'll need to get a copy of that to them, so we'll need to move, before then on this.
June, what's the date?
I think it's June 21's that they have to be notified by then if you're gonna participate.
So if there's no objection, we'll put this on the next work session. Will that be ample time to prepare something? Okay, so we'll put this on the work session on the, what's the date on that? 22nd. Thank you. 15th. 15th. All right. Any other questions or comments on that? Okay, next item regarding the county, the public works truck purchases. I think we discussed this to some extent the last 2 weeks. Mr. Campbell?
Thank you, sir. This is part B of our discussion from last week about the surplus and purchase. I think we ironed out the surplus, so this is the purchase part, at least partially the purchase section. In that latter section, the proposed purchase trucks, what I have to present to you this evening will be four of those vehicles, excluding the 2 half-ton pickups. So the sign truck, the Durapatcher truck, and the 2 dump trucks. In your packet, you should find a option sheet and price for each one of those. And so I'll just kind of go briefly through each one. So on the sign truck options, this is all of these are state contract purchases, and these are the basic options that come with that contract item, with the exception of on the sign truck. Unless there's any opposition, I would like to exclude the towing warranty, 36 months, unlimited miles. That $1,100 price that's on there, I feel that we can do without that. The Durapatcher options, all of that is standard. The only addition we added to that was a exhaust brake, but there doesn't appear to be a charge in the option sheet for that exhaust brake on that vehicle. And then the dump truck option sheet, that is attached along with the quote for the beds. So the beds are provided by Warren, and that is the demo style beds, elliptical beds. And with those beds, there was an addition for the spreader bar, asphalt spreader bar. So on the dump truck sheet, you'll see my handwriting where I've added the price for the beds. The price you see for the dumps is per each. So I'll try to have all the scribbles cleaned up for you and have all those additions into this option sheet by next week. And if you need to see specifications for each of those vehicles, if you want to get down more detailed on the specifications, I can provide those. I didn't email those out because it's a lot of data for each vehicle, but I'll be happy to provide those.
So
Or answer any questions.
how many vehicles are we looking at here?
This will be 2 dump trucks, a cabin chassis for the Durapatcher, and a cabin chassis for the sign truck. 2 dump trucks with bodies. 4 vehicles total.
You recall cubic yardage capacity of the boxes.
14 yards, I think that's what.
10-12 yard elliptical body.
Yeah, it's 10 to 14.
Yeah, they're 14-foot beds.
Any other questions or comments? Can you update us on the process for the sales of the other?
We are, Jay and Wood, those folks are on site today looking at a lot of the equipment. We're kind of weighing some options in on some of the more attractive pieces that may be a better target for the contract industry. There's a large sale coming up in June. It looks like a lot of these pieces will line up well for that. Some of the other less desirable, we'll probably seek some advice from the auction folks on where the best options are for that. Perhaps gov deals or some other avenue.
Any other questions or comments on this at this time? You like?
Was anything ever brought up on these right here versus KWs or anything international? Did you have anything comparison?
No, sir. To my knowledge, the KW, they just had tri-axles, right?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think this is the only tandems all state contract, to my knowledge, and I'll check on that.
That's what I was wondering, did they even have a tandem?
Not to my knowledge. And one reason the mechanics like these vehicles because of the Allison transmission and the Cummins diesel, that combination. I can check on the tandem size in the KW.
Just check and see if it works, I know KW, I outsell the international
They-
Cummins.
They break these, they break the sizes down by GVWR, so I'm doubtful that,
They may not even have not offered.
right, when they solicit bids, they do it, you know, per size of vehicle by GVWR, so then it comes back on that purchasing division, they'll have that range size truck, and then there'll just be one brand of truck that's an option. But with this particular brand and option, you can go with the International diesel or the Cummins diesel, so they changed that back, 07, 08, well, up to 10, I guess, when they were having all the trouble with the International
That
diesel.
Cummins diesel's good.
Yeah.
Any other questions or comments? You'd like to move forward with this next week?
Yes, sir.
Any objection placing this on the agenda for next week? Is that the 8th? 8th. So place that on the agenda for the 8th. Okay?
One more thing I forgot to add, on the other part of this purchase were the 2 half-ton pickups. And so the reason I didn't bring those forward tonight, we're gonna solicit bids locally for that, and then compare the local bids to the state contracts and bring that before you guys to make a decision there.
And you'll have that next week, correct? You said?
No, we'll have to advertise for
Oh, for the-
3 to 4 weeks for that, so that's gonna be some time we can move ahead with these.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Okay, next item is regarding certification incentive. This is something that's been discussed, I know we've discussed at some of our budget meetings in the past, and been discussed, possibly at the work session before. My understanding is that there has been in the past incentives for certifications whenever the county employees do a certification that's relevant to their job. When we came in office, there was no written rule, though there stated that there's some practice, some departments have written rules and some do not. So we stopped anything unless it was in writing, stopped the process unless there's anything in writing, and been discussing, but have not actually done anything with this since that time. So what I'd like to do is move forward with that process of putting together a written rule policy in place for certifications, incentive package to include, whatever things may entail. I think the sheriff's department right now technically gets something once they get there, go through what's the academy or whatever.
A+ certificate.
So things like that would apply. There's been a lot more pressure on jailers to complete certain certifications for safety incentives and things like that. So the goal would be to get these certifications together, have a list of those that would qualify, and then come up with what that incentive would entail for those certifications. So if the commission is still willing and wanting to move forward with that, then I'd like to try over the next 2 weeks to start getting something together so that we can discuss it at the next work session, have some ideas on what's included and how many jobs this will affect, and continue the process from there. So thoughts, questions, concerns on this?
If we have any of the incentive packages that exist, can we get some examples to kind of see what they go by?
Yes, absolutely. Any other questions or comments? I think I only know of 2 departments that have something in writing that I can think of. I've been wanting to work on it for a long time, just haven't had the time to taken the time to make it happen. So, but it is something that needs to be figured out if we're going to move forward.
So we're gonna put this on the 15th.
Yes.
Makes it important to this.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, I'll work to get something together and so we can start this process of discussion for the next work session. Next item is regarding the sewer addition at the county park. We have talked about some sewer extensions out there, one to include the restaurant, another to include the bait and tackle. And I know that in our master plan, we talk about the bathhouse or the restroom facility that's out there to tackle that as well. This does not include that, but I'll let Mr. Barnes kind of explain what we're looking at here.
What these 2 estimates include is tying in the restaurant, the grease trap, the sewer, and also the sewer where we pump out the boats. All that'll be tied into the manhole, and then it'll be, also tied into the new, bake shop rental store. That'll have to be tied into it too. Then you would tie both of them in, and go into to the manhole, so really, only one, on this $13,000 one, I don't see where they said they will repatch the road and reseed and stuff, but I'm pretty sure they will. We'll just have to make sure they do.
They also state that tie-in work at the restaurant is excluded in this price. It's the next to the last bullet.
Where it says all TEI and work, the rest of it is excluded.
Yeah, they'll tie, they'll,
We'll have to tie in.
right. Well, I mean, it's gonna be right there, so, I mean, wherever it comes out of the building, you just tie onto it and just run it into the manhole.
Okay. But is the other one offering that service?
Cause I would say it's as close as those.
Tie in existing buildings, inventory.
I'd say as close as those septic tanks is back there, which they're gonna have to dig some of them up.
I mean, it ain't a big deal, what I do is just get this one to,
Clarify.
Okay.
just don't wanna add tying in and.
Is tying in something we could do ourselves?
Well, tying in is really something, it's no big, I mean, it's not a big deal once you're doing, while you're doing it.
Right.
It's
Just
just,
put that in the proposal right
Right,
there.
include that in.
My Mr. Ruger tie it in and he'll dress up and redo the pavement, you know.
right.
Cause it's not a big deal, but I mean, just put that in instead of exclude it, put it in on include.
But when we done the sewer in the campground, we had to tie in that old laundromat, old bathhouse. Well, I mean, the pipe was there, we just had to run a pipe over to it. I mean, it's very,
That way, if it's included, all of it'll be finalized and Casey
Yeah.
can set up to go.
now the first one, you know, I don't include it, the city wants you to put in, Jason, help me think what I'm talking about, metal,
The ductile.
ductile, if they want you to put in ductile pipe, and that don't include ductile, it's just,
We need to clarify what that was.
Yeah, we need to,
That was fixed to
we
be
need
my
to make sure
question.
that we're bidding the same scope of work and verify from the city if they're gonna require ductile pipe, if they're gonna let us do it with PVC. And then get both of them to go back and look at it and make sure we're pricing apples to apples.
now the first one,
What is the difference on that ductile and PVC?
It's
We'll ask a
a,
panel
pipe,
question.
it's a non-corrosive pipe.
if you're not deep enough, you have to use ductile, but from what I was told, it's gonna be 5 foot deep.
The
I think
land
it's
falls naturally. So the land falls naturally
Right.
towards that. So we could get the updated, to make sure those are two quotes are compared, apples for apples. Get
Yeah,
that,
I-
get that updated for next week.
right, this line on it.
Any other questions or comments?
Well, what you're saying is you wanna make sure not just gravel the road crossing where it's cutting to, you want it repaved across there, right?
Right, I didn't see that in there, and I didn't see,
The seating.
see.
We need the same scope of work on both bids. And we got a little bit different scopes of work on the two bids, so it's hard to.
And on that one, it says, price only, it says, when only provided tie-in for one on that. Okay. I was thinking for a moment, it said the price and limited.
Any other questions or comments? So we'll get those updated quotes, and if you can,
When I get them, I'll
email
send it to her.
And then we'll, if we're prepared, then hopefully we can move forward with that next week. That'd be the goal, so that we can get this project moving. It's moving very well.
Yeah,
Everything,
it's,
Mr. Barr has managing it very well.
we got about 3 weeks, hopefully, before everything gets opened out there, and, it's something that's gotta be done.
Anything
But
else?
I will get that, I'll email.
Any other questions on that? Okay, again, we'll place that on the agenda for the 8th. Move on to our reports, Mr. Manning,
Nothing, thank you.
Mr. Porter, Mr. Campbell,
Thank you.
Mr. Barnes.
Cabin's open today, so we've got rentals already this week and this weekend and next week and so.
Are we booked or?
We're booking some and we've had a lot of inquiries about them, so.
Did you mention to him about the 20th, what we were talking about with the open house?
Yeah, you did, and I said about open house at the Catfish Festival. But I hope all my friends, but, you know,
That is the
if there's one
4th,
open, then sure, you know, that's a good idea.
Try to work on possibly the one closest to the event.
Right,
And the ribbon cutting.
it's Thursday at 10 o'clock.
So if you haven't seen them, then we've got the ribbon cutting Thursday at 10, and we'll have one or two of them open so we can
Oh, yeah.
just wipe your feet before you go in.
Crack in on there.
You got no booties?
Actually, we do, that's awesome up there.
That's for us.
Anything further?
Thank you, John.
What did they do about the, around the pea gravel?
They're working on it. Supposed to be putting some river rock and putting gravel on that too. So we should have one of them done by tomorrow, actually.
So we should be able to see Thursday.
But
Well, we should be able to see tomorrow afternoon.
We want to look at one before they finish it.
Right, correct. All right, anything further? All right, Chief Deputy. Okay, Mr. Venable?
I had two merchants approach me out there this afternoon and want to know would I address the issue about some of the county parked cars that are used very little, some of them stay overnight, with the sidewalks being torn up. Could they be parked over there on the hillside where it would give a little more parking capacity? And I said, I will bring it up.
We can send something out. I didn't think we had any county vehicles over here, but we may have some park. Okay, on the far end, we probably do.
I don't know where they were talking about. They just said there was some ones that would sure be a benefit if they had them moved, you know, other places.
Correct. If we can talk to.
I didn't ask what they were or where they was at, and I just said, yes, I'll bring it up.
Okay. Anything further?
That's all.
Ms. Gilbert?
Community meeting. We still gonna try to do one of those this month?
Is that District 3 takes place, and we'll probably shoot for the last week of the month.
21st? No, 22nd. I will get back with you.
Okay. All right, anything further? All right, Mr. Gaffney?
No, sir.
All right, that concludes the items for our agenda this evening. I think that's everything. I look forward, these cabins look fantastic. They're looking great, the park is looking great. There's a lot of limbs and things down this morning from all the wind. They were busy.
All cleaned up.
Awesome, there we go. They're working hard to get that cleaned up today, but I appreciate what you guys are doing out there. It's coming along great. It's gonna be a great asset. It is a great asset. It's just gonna be that much nicer for our community. And if you haven't been out there, please make a trip to go out there and take a look at things. And with that, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Motion, do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye. Those opposed say no.